Hey y'all, what's up? Nola HVAC. How y'all doing today? So, I just want to run through some things with y'all. This isn't going to be a one of my normal videos. You know, I sort of want to let y'all know where I come from, get a little personal with y'all, give y'all a little background on myself and how I got into the trade. I have a podcast coming out tonight, and I'll put the link in there that also sort of lets you know where I came from and the struggles I've been through, but I'm gonna expound on that. So right now I'm my mid-30s. I've been out of prison since December of 2020. So back when I was in my early 20s, and even before that, into my, from when I was around, let's say, rough estimate to around 14, my juvenile years from around 14 to 17, I guess, I was in and out of trouble all the time. Stupid kid stuff, but it got me in some trouble. Once I hit 18, I sort of carried that over, into my late teens, and then in my 20s, I caught my first felony when I was 18, possession charge, and from there it just went downhill pretty fast. Multiple different charges, and just really couldn't stay out of trouble and couldn't stay out of jail. I was probably out in the streets maybe two full years. If you add up all the time I was out on the streets before I got my 10-year sentence, in my early 20s, I guess I was 23 maybe, and that's when I got convicted on an aggravated battery charge. I had gotten in a fight with some people on my way home from a bar room in my hometown of Covington, Louisiana. I say hometown, I've been in back and forth between Mandeville and Covington, New Orleans, and all over the place on the east side of Louisiana. I'm not gonna say my whole life, but my mature life as we moved there in '99. But nonetheless, I got convicted on that charge. I spent right around 10 years in prison. They gave me a 10-year and 1 month sentence on that. It seems a little excessive maybe to some of y'all, but if you know the area that I grew up in, then you know that it's not really excessive for their sentencing. They have somewhere around a 98% conviction rate. A lot of that is from plea deals. Prosecutors and judges definitely force your hand. If you don't take what they're offering you, they're giving you the max. They could have given me a life sentence on the aggravated battery charge, and of course I pled out to the 10 years and 1 month. And that was served day for day. No probation, no parole, no suspension of sentence. So anyway, moving on. I got that charge maybe 2010, I guess. Maybe it was 11, I forget. And shortly after that, I left the parish jail, which is sort of, I guess that would be equivalent to other states' county jails. But I left there shortly after that and went to Rayburn Correctional Center. Spent a couple years there. I carried over what I was doing on the street. I carried it over into prison. Still doing the same stuff, still getting loaded, still, partaking in things I have no business partaking in, whether it's violence or, drugs, alcohol, because all that stuff's in the prisons over here. Cell phones, whatever it may be. Stuff that I wasn't supposed to do, I stayed doing it. But And that kept me in the cell blocks for probably around my first 6 years of incarceration. My times out of the cell blocks, I worked on different maintenance crews, installing cameras, worked on some electrical crews, doing different maintenance around the prison grounds. Eventually, I wound up at Elaine Hunt Correctional Center, which is in St. Gabriel, Louisiana. I spent the majority of my time there. And like I said, the first 4 years, I guess I was there, I was in the cell block, maybe 5 years. And it took me through the ringer. Almost lost my mind being there. Literally, found myself in, their skilled nursing unit. Couldn't give them my name, couldn't tell them who I was, and honestly, I didn't know who I was. I was on a treatment there for some health issues, and it just took a toll on me physically and mentally, to where I had dropped down to probably around 130 pounds. It was basically losing my mind. Eventually I shook back, and I guess my last 3 years there, 3 years before I got out, I should say, they started having a bunch of changes in the laws. Started letting people earn good time, letting people make parole that weren't supposed to make parole, or weren't eligible for parole, I should say, when they got sentenced. And I started seeing all type of new rap sheets getting sent out. And for those of you that don't know, a rap sheet is basically all your charges listed on it every time you've been locked up. But it also tells you your release date, scheduled release dates, parole eligibility dates if you have them. So I started seeing all these. I was in the cell blocks at the time, and I started seeing all these people get these rap sheets, new rap sheets with parole eligibility dates on them that previously they didn't have them. They didn't have the eligibility dates. So, I saw that they were letting a lot more people out. And I wanted to be in that number. First chance I got to get out, whether it be 24 hours before my release, my scheduled release date, I wanted to be there. I wanted to be out that door. I didn't want to be in prison no more. So, I sort of made up my mind that I wasn't going to be one of those people that got a rap sheet with a parole eligibility date, and I was stuck in the cell block. And for those of you that don't know, if you're in the cell block or you've had a write-up within the past year, they won't even consider you for parole eligibility. You have to have a substantial amount of time without a write-up, and have to have been, investing in yourself, whether it be self-help classes, school, different trades, whatever it may be. They want to see that you're investing in yourself so you won't recidivate and come back to prison. So I started taking advantage of all the little self-help classes that they had, and around that time, I guess that was March of 2018, I got clean, stopped doing all the drugs, stopped taking pills, and I cleaned myself up. I turned myself around. I don't want to get in to religion on this. God played a big part of it, and religion, my Catholic religion played a big part of it as well, and I don't want to take away from how much that played a part in it, but it played a very significant part in that. A lot of people were sent into my life that helped facilitate the changes that I was making. I have a good friend who's still in there serving a life sentence, Billy, who took me under his wing. He was a peer minister there, a Catholic peer minister, and took me under his wing, and I started working out with him and doing positive things, getting involved in the church, whatnot, and that gave me a sense of worth, and some self-esteem. Got involved in different types of school, which eventually led to me getting in the HVAC trade school that they had there, which was facilitated by Baton Rouge Community College. They had instructors, certified instructors from the street that would come in there and teach us class, and take us through these classes throughout the day. And that was basically what we did all day. We'd go to school from, I guess, 8 o'clock till 7:30 or 8 until 3:30, and we get off. And I did that for around a year and a half, close to 2 years, being in trade school. Top of my class. I always knew I had a strong mechanical aptitude. Before I went to prison, I was doing electrical work. I started out doing smaller electrical work on pools, pool pumps, wiring lights in pools and panels and pool heaters, stuff like that, with a guy, Eric, who I owe a lot of, me getting into that side of getting into the blue collar field. I owe a lot of it to Eric, and also me finding my place, or what I enjoy, because I thoroughly enjoyed doing that work. Then from there, I went on to commercial electrical work, working for a local union out of Bogalusa, I believe it is. It was local union 1077, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers. I started out there as an apprentice and never finished my apprenticeship. I was in and out of trouble, so that took away a lot of the opportunities that I had with that union. But I enjoyed going to work every day, and I loved what I did. And that brought me into prison. That brought me into doing the electrical work while I was in prison on maintenance crews here and there, and eventually brought me into the HVAC trade, which I just picked up on it so fast. It was unbelievable. I maintained a 4.0 throughout my whole time in that class. I think there was only one test that I might have made a B on throughout all those modules. We went through the it wasn't modern refrigeration. It was air conditioning refrigeration technology textbook. And man, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed going to school. I enjoyed learning. Our instructor was a guy named Mike Aguilar, who still teaches with Baton Rouge Community College, although they had pulled out of the prisons. So, I still keep in touch with him to this day, man. He poured out so much knowledge, a wealth of knowledge into my life while I was in there, and even after I got out. I still keep in touch with him to this day. And man, he's poured out a lot of his knowledge. Took a lot of guys to that class who are excellent technicians right now. A couple of them work for us. People that I had got on. I have a lot to owe to him as well. So after I finished the schooling, we got locked down this was right around the time the pandemic started. So all the dorms got locked down, weren't able to mingle with the other population or anything. So we were, confined to a dorm pretty much 24 hours out of the day, which isn't normal for us in Louisiana. At a lot of these prisons, you can move around, walk around, go to weight pile, go to library, go to church, do different things in the compound. And, we weren't able to do that for probably close to 2 years. And I had left before they removed the lockdown from all the dorms. But, while I was locked down for that, probably around a year, maybe a little bit over a year, I had already started with the NCCER curriculum, which is National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. I'd already completed my level 1, and the facilitator of that was another person that was incarcerated with me at the time, guy Chester Snyder. We call him Chet, but he's a certified instructor in NCCER. He actually opened up a Johnson Control School at Angola that is still up and running to this day, where they take you through the NCCER curriculum. But I wanted to go through all levels 1 through 4. I'd only started with my first one before we got locked down, and I was still doing the maintenance thing, still working on everything they had there. A lot of package units. None of the dorms are conditioned, so the only thing we work on in the dorms is heaters. They have gas furnaces, and they have exhaust fans, basically like attic fans. So those are the only things that they have to cool the dorms down in the summertime. That is changing now. They have started to add air conditioning to Hunt. I believe they have one dorm they just finished with, which I think is a great thing. That's crime against humanity, if you ask me. It gets so freaking hot down here. You got 110 degrees inside of a dorm that, in the summertime, where you're sleeping on top of your sheets or you're sleeping on the floor because the concrete's a little bit cooler than your mattress is. So they're starting to put air conditioning in some of the dorms. I think they started with the mental health dorm first, because a lot of them are on medications over there that it's hard for them to function if they're in a 108, 110 degree dorm throughout the summer. So but anyway, so I went through my level 1 through 4. I tested out on each of those modules in each one of those levels while I was on lockdown. And we'd still leave the dorm of maintenance, essential workers maintenance, and some other people. So I was able to do performance evaluations for everything. And I'm gonna say schooling is a big part of this trade, but it's not everything. You don't realize how much you don't know, until you start working on new things. But anyway, so I got out. Well, first off, let me back up. So my friend Chet, the instructor, he was serving a life sentence, served 21 years off that life sentence, and just recently got out. He's been out maybe a couple months now. And I'm actually going to pick him up tomorrow. My son's birthday party is this weekend, so I'm going to pick him up. We're going to be going by my dad's house and spending some time together. But, I was a big advocate for his release. I showed up at his resentencing hearing, showed up at his clemency hearing, was able to speak at both of those. He had a great attorney that's actually from Australia, Lady Amy, who helped facilitate his release, and man, she got him out. So that's a good thing. But I owe a lot of what I know, and place where I'm at now, I owe a lot of it to Chet as well. So I'll do anything for this guy. So anyway, I got out in December of 20, and I searched everywhere for a job. I got a resume together, and part of my work experience in my resume was working in prison. Even though I made 5 cents an hour, even though I was making only 5 cents an hour, it's still work experience, and some people will take it for what it's worth, but some people take it with a grain of salt because they don't feel that it's real work experience. But I tell you what, if you work for 5 cents an hour and you're working all day, every day, you're doing it out of your own willingness. And it's not something that I had to do, it's something that I wanted to do. And I did have to do it because I needed the experience before I got out here into the free world. So, so I could get a job, so I could, be efficient and be good at what I do. And when I got out, man, I searched everywhere for a job. I put in applications and resumes, dropped my resumes off to, I would say probably at least 30 companies. and had interviews with probably around 10 of them. Some of them, I just wasn't what they were looking for. One of the first people I dropped my resume off with was a guy in Mandeville named Edgar that owns a residential service. He's like, I'm looking for someone with a little bit more experience in the free world, and the residential side of things is a lot different than the commercial side. As you see, I got a lot of tattoos. I got piercings, my ears, and sometimes it'll scare residential customers. So, I wasn't mad about it. I was just trying to get my foot in the door somewhere. But I dropped my application off with him. He's like, man, look, I know a guy who is pretty high up with this company. They do all commercial work, and so I'm gonna send your resume over to him. I'm like, all right, I appreciate it. And I really didn't think anything about it. Eventually I landed a job with a guy, Jim, who also I owe a lot to. He put a lot of trust in me and paid me a fair wage. And gave me work when I first got out. I worked for him for a few months, but it just wasn't where I needed to be. Didn't have health insurance with them, didn't have 401k, the stuff that I needed at my age to be able to set myself up, where I wanted to be, to either open my own shop or whatever I wanted to do in the future, and also be able to take care of my family the way I wanted to be able to take care of them. I stayed with him for as long as I could. Not for as long as I could until another opportunity came open. It was really just a means to an end. And an ASM with Nextech, guy Gary got in touch with me. I was in Lake Charles. I almost didn't answer the phone because it was a out of state area code, and it actually showed up as spam caller on my iPhone. So I almost didn't answer it, but I'm glad I did. He's like, look, I got your resume. Our vice VP or VP dropped it off to us. He wants us to check you out and interview you. And I'm like, yeah, sure, for sure. So we set up an interview around a week later. Whenever I got back into town, I stopped by and interviewed with him. And of course, I was honest with my current boss. I let him know I was going to be interviewing with someone else, and he sort of knew my situation, and he knew I wasn't where I wanted to be as far as with the company, because he couldn't offer me what I needed. And so I went and interviewed with him, and I think I hit it off with him right away. We all fell on an even playing field. I let him know what I could do and what I was comfortable with, what I wasn't comfortable with. I was open off the dump with him about my background and where I came from, and where I just got out of. And because I believe that it's my history isn't it doesn't have to be a handicap. It can be whatever you want it to be. It can be a handicap if that's what you see it as. But if you see it as a positive, and something that benefits you and makes you more of an asset to a company rather than a liability, you got to play it for that. And that's what I did. And I got the job. I got what I asked for as far as wage was concerned, and then some. They actually gave me $2 more an hour than what I was asking for. And man, now my foot was in the door, and I could show them what I was really worth. I got on with the company. I started with them. Man, I don't want to toot my own horn, and it's sort of hard for me to toot my own horn, because it's like, I know how I felt about the work that I was doing when I first started. There was a lot of stuff I was iffy about. I wasn't as comfortable with refrigeration as I was with HVAC. And there's some units that I was comfortable on with HVAC, some I wasn't too comfortable on. And that's the way it's going to be with anyone when they're first starting out. Even if you've been in this trade for a long time, you can go and jump to another company, and now you have a different set of stuff that you're working on a regular basis. And I mean, after my first few months, though, I was pretty comfortable with everything I was working on, and I know I still had a lot to learn, but I just kept on pressing. They kept on giving me more money, and and every time I get a raise, I put out more work. I go above and beyond again. And now it's sort of my thing. It's like, if you're going to give me more money, I'm going to try and one-up you. I'm going to try and give you more than what you're giving me. If you give me $30 an hour, I'm going to try and give you $34 an hour. So when my time comes around for another raise, you're not going to have any problem giving it to me. So that's sort of where I stayed for a while. I took a service manager position with them back in January of this year, and moved on the other side of the state. It didn't really pan out. That's just what it was. I'm not saying I couldn't do it. I could, but I wasn't happy doing it. I didn't enjoy doing it as much as I enjoy being on a roof and fixing something, or being inside a freezer, and fixing something. I enjoy getting dirty. I enjoy being in the field. I enjoy being hot and sweaty on top of a roof in the middle of summer, 112 degrees underneath the tent. Man, I enjoy that. I enjoy working 15 hours a day, or working on overnight jobs, getting covered in insulation, or I enjoy all that stuff. I love it. I eat it up. I enjoy people looking at me like I'm a rock star when I still question myself about some of my capabilities, and I enjoy them calling me and being like, oh, look, we're sending you out to this place, to go fix this, because whoever can't fix it, or because it's been a problem site. I enjoy going out to those places, busting my tail, and getting everything back up and running at 100%, and not having a call back for the next year. I enjoy all that stuff, man. It's it's what keeps me going. It's what drives me. It what pushes me to be a better technician, and a better pocket, and not to mention working all those hours and seeing those checks come in. And if I want to, I can be like, look, man, put me on the board for the next 30 days. Every day I'm trying to buy a new boat, I'm trying to buy a motorcycle, I'm trying to buy this. If anything comes up that I can't afford and I want to pay for it cash, I can tell them, man, put me on that board, send me out of state, whatever it may be. And I can rack up as much money as I want. Yes, it's more time away from my family, but at the same time, I'm young, and I need to be putting in the work while I can, while I still have my knees and my back and my shoulders, and I'm able to to physically exert myself. I got to do it while I'm young. If you don't do it now, when you're old, it gets a lot harder. I'm not saying that older people can't run circles around me, but I'm saying it's harder for them to run circles around me. And this is my time. I'm trying to make up for lost time while I was locked up. Man, 10 years of my life, I wasn't putting into a 401k. I wasn't saving money. I come out here and started with $0 and 0 cents. I was given a truck when I first got out, which, I'm still paying my dad back for little by little. But in that time since I've been out, I've, almost paid off my girl's car. I paid my insurance, her car note. I just bought a house. I pay a house note. I just bought a boat, 22-foot Hydrosport with a 200 horsepower Evinrude on it, that I paid cash for. So, I have all these things, and I'm still putting my money in my 401k every week. I'm still putting money into savings every week, and I have to try and catch up so I can retire at a not an old age. I want to retire when I'm relatively young. I want to be able to provide my family with nice things and go on nice vacations and not have to worry about my financial status and if I'm going to be able to pay for this or pay for that or have to live paycheck by paycheck. I don't want to do that, and I'm not going to do it. So that's why I work the way I do. That's why I've made the decisions that I've made in life since I've been home, and they've all panned out. And for those of you that also didn't know, when I first got out, my girlfriend, she got pregnant. So I have a little boy that just turned 2, and it's that was another thing that popped off as soon as I got home. My only child, I love him to death. I don't want to be able to provide the life for him that I had when I was young. My dad worked hard to be able to provide for me and my mom and my sister, and I didn't grow up. I grew up learning the values of having things, but also being able to pay for them on my own. I wasn't given things like, I didn't get a driver's license when I was 16, nor did I get a vehicle. I didn't get my first vehicle until I was 19. Didn't get my driver's license till I was 19. Until they felt that, or until I was able to say, hey, look, I can pay for this on my own, or I earned this, and I need this. They didn't think I needed when I was younger. So, but I wanted to be able to provide for my family like my dad provided for us, and that's what I'm gonna do. And there's no holding me back. I love the company that I work for now. They provide a fair and honest wage for me. They give me hours. I have some clout with them, so it's a comfortable place for me. But I also feel that I want to grow more, and I take every opportunity that I can to be able to learn about something new. I take it all in, and I love when I get new equipment to work on that I haven't worked on before, because it just adds to my resume and my repertoire of things that I've worked on. But there's larger stuff that I want to work on. Like I was telling Mike, HVAC Reefer Man, I want to work on racks. I want to work on chillers, and I don't get that opportunity with this company. Not saying that I won't. I get some opportunities like that on some of the smaller rack systems that we work on, the Zero Zone Edge racks, but that's not all the time, and the amount of customer base that we're building up right now, buying out all these companies with the largest nationwide HVAC and refrigeration company, self-performing HVAC and refrigeration company right now, where at the end of the year, I guess we probably might have over 2,500 techs nationwide in all 50 states. Some of the customers that we're picking up, I may get to work on some of these, but right now the largest things I get to work on is Zero Zone Edge racks and some multi-circuited racks at some restaurants, and some large IntelliPacks, and we do have a few chillers that we do maintenance on, but that's few and far between. When I say that, I've probably put my hands on 2 of them the past 3 years I've been here. So if they give me the opportunity to work on that stuff, man, I'm about it. Send me out there. I want to work on it, but if not, maybe eventually I find myself somewhere else that'll give me that opportunity. And who knows, I may be back with Next Tech in the future. But it's all up in the air right now. I'm here for right now, for however long I'm gonna be here, until something else piques my interest, and someone else gives me the opportunity to grow with them. So I'm here for right now. Not really planning on going anywhere, although I do have my feelers out all the time. So, but yeah, man, that's where I came from, man. I try and pull guys in to this trade because this trade saved my life. If I didn't have this trade, I probably would have gotten out and I probably would have been home for around 90 days and come back, because that's just the way it's been since I was young. I've been clean and sober going on 6 years now. A lot of that is because I stay busy, also because I have my mind made up, and also because of my faith. But I've taken one apprentice under my wing. We do apprenticeships at Next Tech. They start them out at an excellent wage, and take them through the modern refrigeration textbook. They do performance evaluations, and it's a great program. I wish I could have been involved in it longer, but the apprentice that I took under my wing, he just didn't work out. I had him for around a month, maybe 2 months. It was someone that I knew that was heavily involved in the streets, and I got him hired on, and it worked out for a few weeks, and then I sort of slowly started seeing him slip back into his old behaviors, and it just wasn't for him. I wasn't going to have him hurt himself or hurt me in the process, so I had to let him go. I'm not saying that I wouldn't take someone else back on, but it would have to be the right candidate. I do go back to the prisons and speak to the guys there. I went back a few weeks ago to Hunt, the one prison I was incarcerated at for the majority of my time, and I spoke to a bunch of the guys there on the yard. They had some sort of symposium. Just let them know where I was at now, what I was doing. Gave my phone number out, and talked to a lot of the guys that are in trade school over there, and told them, man, say, when you get out, holler at me. I might be able to help you out with a job, and if I can't help you out with a job with my company, help you out with a job with someone else. I have my hands in a few different things, and I talk with a lot of people. So it's all about giving back to your community. I took so much away from my community before I got incarcerated. Man, it's hard for me to talk about. I start tearing up sometimes, but man, it's real. I took a lot of well-being away from my community. They just, there were a better community with me locked up when I was locked up. Now that I'm out and I'm a different person, it's different now. I can give back, and I can, be a contributing citizen. But before that, I wasn't doing them no good. So I mean, like I said, it's all about giving back, about pulling people out of the trenches. And we got a lot of people that are stuck in addiction and in the street life. And I have friends to this day. I just see them drop off one at a time. Not saying all of them are going to drop off, and I hope no more do, but I know it's only a matter of time. People that are still stuck in addiction, still doing the same stuff they were doing when they were in their teens and early 20s. I mean, man, we're in our 30s now. It's time to grow up. It's time to, start setting up a plan for the future. It's been time. I have my parents and my friends, and people I was locked up with, and people that knew me before I was locked up, all of them, man, Chris, I'm proud of you. And it's like, it's not for you to be proud of me. I'm not doing anything that I shouldn't have been doing a long time ago. I should be so further ahead in life. I should be looking at retiring in the next 5 or 10 years, if I would have been doing this a long time ago. But I wasn't, so it is what it is. But I look for every opportunity I have to give back and help someone else out. And man, I hope I can. If y'all know anyone out there, man, tell them to hit me up. On Instagram, I'm at real, that's REAL _ NOLA, NOLA _ HVAC. So that's real _ NOLA _ HVAC, and that's on Instagram. I just started that Instagram account, so I'm only following one person, which is HVAC Reefer Man Mike Mayberry. Great guy, but that's the only person I'm following right now. So I'll tag him in this, and hopefully he'll be able to get my message out to some people. And man, y'all reach me on YouTube, which is one of the places that this video will be posted to. That's going to be at NOLA HVAC, NOLA HVAC, and by the end of the weekend, I'll have Facebook account opened up for this as well, which will also be real _ NOLA _ HVAC. So y'all hit me up. Y'all tell people to reach out to me. Man, white collar isn't it anymore, man. I tell you what, blue collar is the new white collar, and it's become a millionaire being a blue collar worker. I don't care what anyone says. I haven't made under a 6-figure salary per year since I've been home, and that says a lot. I'm not gonna say everyone just coming home can do that, but I'm saying you can if your mind is in the right place and you have the right opportunities presented to you, which I just lucked out with that. Man, it doesn't happen very often, but I know a lot of people out here right now that are just getting out and that are killing it in this trade as well as in other trades. Man, get yourself some schooling, man. Get yourself an apprenticeship. Go check out some of the unions. Unions have apprenticeships. Nextech has apprenticeships. And hit me up. If y'all have any questions about any of the things that I've shared, please let me know. I appreciate comments. Subscribe. Follow me. And man, I'll be talking to y'all soon. Y'all take it easy.